Can you turn your phones? Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mumbles podcast. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts out of Buffalo, New York, host of Muzzy Buzz, my man Mort. And we have the host of Sultans and Sneakers, Mahin Islam. And His Excellency, Sheikh
Hassan.
Sheikh Amir.
Astaghfirullah.
Sheikh Amir. And please welcome
Still
our special...
astaghfirullah.
Please welcome our guest, Sheikh Hassan Shemrani. He is the guest, he is the founder of the Sunni...
Sons of the Sunnah.
The Sons of the Sunnah, sorry. And he's also...
Sons of
the Sunnah.com is his website. He also participates as a teacher in his community, but also as a participant of the Sunni defense, as I understand it. Mashallah, the brothers at the Sunni defense are doing a lot of work.
Yeah, may Allah bless them. A lot of work. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And a lot of work.
I remember when they first started, they started off very small and they just exponentially just grew really fast into a very large channel. MashaAllah. So, welcome to the show.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
What,
pleasure to be here with you, brothers. Although I prefer, and I don't mean it with a fake humbleness, I really prefer just because I am brother Shemrani. I'm just a brother, you know. I'm just a simple guy doing da'wah to my best ability. That's really it.
What do you think about that, Sheikh?
I actually
Sheikh Hammer, Sheikh Hammer prefers Sheikh.
I don't actually.
Yeah.
Well, if you like, you can call me Ayatollah.
Sheikh Hammer usually pull off his gloves and
I already
give us a
started.
No, I mean, so let me just give the listeners a little bit of a background of why. So, for the longest time, I always followed this Sunni and Shia debate for a long time. I even myself got involved a long time ago when I had a YouTube channel many years ago. Some of you know, the listeners, and I used to make videos. My primary purpose of that channel was to just make videos in response to some of the Shia. So I've been very familiar with his work for a long time, and I had no idea who all these people are. But then thanks to Twitter, I get to know, and Discord, I get to know who everybody is now, right? The world gets smaller. So I've been following, I subscribed, and I'm like, okay, we kind of know some mutual people. So we thought, okay, I thought it was a perfect time to get it because it's a really interesting story. You have a person who's of Iranian descent, background, and he is a person who leaves the, Shiism and becomes Sunni, starts a website, understands, the complexities of the Iranian Sunnis inside of Iran, and then plus, it's just a golden story. So I guess we take this time just to kind of tell a little bit about yourself, like, who is Hassan Shemrani? Like, who are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe people don't know. Some people do, a lot of people do, but some don't, especially in America.
Okay, I start with the name of Allah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Wa a'udhu billah min ana. I seek refuge from saying I, and about me, myself, for the greater benefit, and a very important point before I even start to say anything about myself. There are many, many brothers like myself, way more knowledgeable, more beneficial, but everybody's in a different situation. I myself, right now, I also work at a TV channel, Persian Sunni TV channel. I help at the channel. It's called Tawheed TV. We are in contact with former scholars and students from the Hawza and Qum. They do the da'wah, ex-Shias, around the world. But, everybody's in a different situation. They don't have the, let's call it luxury, like I have to expose their face. I live in the West here. I can do that. So I am not rare in the sense of that there are not many like me out there. It's just the truth is they can't come out. It's few. For especially inside Iran, if you live Shiism and become Sunni, that's the worst thing. So anyway, that was a small introduction now about myself. I'm in my mid-30s. I was raised in Europe, in Germany. I moved to the UK a very long time ago, over 10 years. And to make it very, very, very compromise everything short, I come from a family who is originally religious. My father's side are religious Shia people, originally very religious.
Even if you don't mind, if you mind me asking, what like denomination of Shia is generally is your family from?
I think that's what the Marja, I think.
Well, in Iran, there is no form of Shiism other than Twelverism. There is no other form. For example, in Asia, even in India, you have Ismailis, for example. Even in America, I think you guys, even in the UK, we have to. In Iran, there is no other form of Shiism other than Twelverism, which they refer to Madhab Ja'fari or Imamism, Twelverism. So yes, so my family, like most Iranians, the misconception is already here in the mind of many people, probably because many people unfortunately think that Iran is either completely Shia or at least 99%, which is a big misconception. But anyway, my father's family are very religious. They are they claim Arab heritage from the Abbasid tribe, and they're very proud of it. And this is for my father's side. And my mother's side, compared to my father's side especially, are very, how can you call it? You can say very secular from the time of the Shah till today. So my father's side was very religious, and my mother's side, very secular, irreligious Shias. My father happened to be one of the few in his family who wasn't really religious at all. And then the Iran-Iraq war happened, and they fled Iran, came to Europe. I was raised in Europe as, I wasn't raised as a religious Shia, but I was always reminded that Shiism is part of my culture, and we are Shias, especially when I visited Iran, because I visited Iran many times. And many family members, from my father's side especially, are still religious. Although, like in the case of many Iranians, many also have become murtaddin from Shiism. And this is another phenomenon that is very widespread in Iran, that many families who used to be very religious in the time of the Shah, where everybody was like free to wear whatever they wanted and they used to wear chador and whatnot. My father's family was like that. Many of them have become atheists, semi-atheists. However, the core of the family is very religious. So I was always reminded of it. And Shiism, what I perceived as Islam, was always part of my life. And and then, I want to make it really cut.
So I want to talk about that for a second, though. So this is just a quick question. So this is also something that I've noticed here, that I have heard in my discussions with other people who are of Iranian descent, and many of them, it's usually in terms of a political discussion we're having. But I noticed that when it comes back to the issue of Shia and Sunni, I've had one tell me flat out, look, I'm not that religious. I don't really care. But I'm Persian. I have to be Shia. Like, and I'm going to side with them no matter what, because I'm Shia. We're Shia.
You see, it starts already with that thing. I'm Persian. The thing is, brother, I don't want to complicate it too much. I want it too long. But the thing is, you have to understand that the Iranian community, most of them in the West, are from the ethnic Persian background, especially in America. Not most of them. Whereas the reality is Persians make up max, and this is very generous estimate, 60% of the population, 60, maximum.
Persians make up 60% of Iran's population?
Yes.
Because don't you have the Kurds, you have Balochis, you have the Turkmenis,
we have Arabs.
Yeah.
We have Arabs, for God's sake.
Yeah, Ahwazis and Bandar Abbas, they're like Arabs, pretty much, right?
We have we have Arabs, we have Iranian Arabs. And here's the problem. Whenever I appeared on shows, brothers, just because of my accent, how I pronounce things as they should be pronounced in Arabic, or the way I dress, I often saw comments of people saying, "Hello, that guy's no way Iranian, guy's obviously an Arab guy." You know, it's very interesting, even if I am an Arab guy from Iran. So, you know what it proves? It proves the illness that exists within Iranian society, as in every society has its problems. The problem is, brother, the majority Persian community, and it's very similar I have a very close Ethiopian and Eritrean friends. In Ethiopia, they have the same problem. One ethnic group, the Amhara, really represent everything that is Ethiopian. If you're Ethiopian, you are Orthodox, and you're Amhara from the ethnic group. The others are like a bit almost ignored. And same as with Iranians. It's always Iranian equals Persian. Iranian equals Shia. Iranian equals the way they speak, the way they dress, the way they look. Oh, you don't look Iranian. I mean, Iran is a large country, and the problem is many Iranians themselves, brothers, and their viewers, they don't know their own country. They don't know if you go to Balochistan, people have very dark skin color. It goes, they have from dark brown to black skin color. In Bandar Abbas and Hormuzgan in the south, we have Arabs, we have Baluchis. And Balochistan, brother, which is a majority Sunni region, the Sunnah, not forget about Sunnah, the urf, the custom of the people is to wear turbans. So, of course, this is shocking to Iranians. And the problem is, in the 80s and the 90s and the late 90s and the early 2000s, where there was internet was still new, social media wasn't around. So this stereotype of Iran, Persian, it could be sold easily by the Persian community outside Iran. Now, thanks to social media, even non-Iranians are getting familiar that Iran is very diverse. Iran is not just Shia and Persian. Iran has different ethnicities. Many ethnicities are mixed in Iran. As I said, I was born in, some Shias, they mock my name. They say Shemran, Shemr bin Dil Jawshan. That's how he was the killer of Ahlul Bayt and so on. I was born in Shemiran. Shemiran is a Shia town. It's a Shia town that is today part of Greater Tehran. I was born there. It's 100%, not 99%. It's 100% Shia town. So Shemrani, if you type Shemran, you will see many Arabs because of the Shemrani tribe or Shemr tribe. But you will also see many Iranians. They have no relation to the Arab tribe. They are just from that town that happens to sound similar to the Shemr or the Shemrani tribe. So I was born in a 100% Shia city at the outskirts of Tehran. We are culturally Persians. I refer to myself first and foremost as Iranian. I'm culturally Persian. Ethnically, Allah knows best. My father's family, they claim Arab heritage and that they're from Bani Abbas and they have a family tree. Allahu A'lam.
Sheikh Hassan?
I was raised with Persian. Yeah. And this is to explain to you why this misconception that everything is only Persian, it's only Shia. And you will already there will be a moment coming.
Historically speaking, the people of Persia, Iran, what's known as Iran today, they've been a very proud people, right? And as someone who loves history and enjoys reading history, they've always seen themselves as world leaders, people who wanted to show to the world that since the times of Alexander the Great, they wanted to have exert influence on the world with famous emperors like Cyrus the Great, how has that attitude or those feelings transpired over the years, even within during the days of Islam, and how various factions of Shias would form their own
as I mentioned, it's problematic in Iranian society. It's problematic because Persian nationalism is very toxic. Every people have a right to be proud of the history. I'm an Iranian. I love my homeland. Last time, obviously I can't go back to Iran. A Sunni Iranian sheikh, a close friend of mine, the owner of the channel whom I work with, he says if me and you go back to Iran, they're going to turn us into mincemeat. So I can't go back to Iran, but it's my homeland. I do remember things there, although I left Iran when I was 3.5. The thing is with Iranian nationalism, the problem is not that it's a people with a ancient history. It is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. There's no doubt. The problem is the average Iranian, and this is from my experience, personal experience. I'm not generalizing. I'm not saying everyone. But it's pretty much known to the extent that even you are pointing out to it. It's often toxic. It often includes degrading the others. It's not just taking pride and having respect for others. And the problem is now the result of it is that within Iran, domestically, Iran has a problem. Many people don't know. Domestically, Iran has a huge problem. And you know what it is? It is that all those minorities who in the last 100 years, during the Pahlavi era and during the Khomeinists era, who are, by the way, pretty much chauvinists, just like the Pahlavis, the minorities had no, they had no megaphone. They had nobody that could speak for them. Social media has changed things. Now, for the first time, Baluchi activists, Ahwazi Arab activists, Azerbaijani activists, they are asking for their rights, Like in Kurdistan, people, they're demanding to have, in the university, in the schools, that the curriculum to be taught in their language, in their native language, in Kurdish language. I've seen one time an Arab Iranian Ahwazi MP, member of parliament, coming with his dishtasha into the Iranian parliament. That was a bit shocking, because in Persian culture, you don't wear these things, So that's the problem, You have to always justify yourself. So whereas, let's take, for example, let me give you a country that is very diverse, a Middle Eastern country. Iraq. Yeah, Iraq is kind of, They have Kurds, they have Turkoman. When a Kurdi Iraqi says, with his Kurdish, beautiful, the way they make the amama, the turban, when he says, I'm Iraqi, it's acceptable. But in Iranian society, at most by lip service, they will accept you. Again, I'm not generalizing. I'm saying this is my experience and the experience of many who don't fit into the category of the typical Persian guy.
So I got a question for you. So would you say it's fair to say that anything that is associated with Arabs or Sunnis, whatever, they want to do the opposite of, pretty much? I mean, that's how the vibe that I get.
That's known. If anybody denies this, like as if you are making a lie on me, that's not. It's true. Anti-Arab sentiments are very common in wider Iranian, Persian culture and society. I was raised in Persian society. I was raised in a family where, despite my father's family claiming Arab heritage, but at the end of the day, they're fully Persianized, linguistically and culturally, which is very normal, especially in the south of Iran. Many Iranians of Arab heritage are completely Persianized, which is normal to an extent, and sometimes it has several factors. But anyway, this is pretty much known that anything that has to do with Arabs especially, and by the way, also Turks, in Iranian mythology, in the Shahnameh by Ferdowsi and whatnot, the Turks and the Arabs are the two evils. SubhanAllah, they're the evils. The Turks are the wild, barbaric descendants of the Mongols. And the Arabs are Ahriman. Ahriman means shaitan. They are the incarnation of evil who came and raped all our women, burned all our books, and they forced, right? And they forced their religion upon us. And and this is generations have been raised with.
But then what happens with the? I'm sorry to cut you. No, go ahead.
Just along that line, you mentioned an important thing. Because they have this animosity towards Arabs, do you think the Persian nation, the Persians themselves, had an inclination to have a separate identity of Islam from the rest of the Muslim world? Is that why they adopted Shiism as their?
Good question.
Because it makes it easier for you to be Shia now, because you hate the Arabs question. And
it's like having your own state.
Yeah.
Normally, the answer to these are two extreme answers. Some people deny it absolutely. They say no, and the proof is that Persians at the beginning, throughout most of the history, Iran was a Sunni country. So the answer would be no to your question. That's one extreme, to completely categorically answer with a no. The other extreme is to categorically say, yes, you're right.
But there's Arab Shias too, though.
Like most things in life, as the Arabs say, the best things are in the middle. The truth is somewhere in the middle. How? Look, Iran, when Islam entered Iran, what is called today modern day Iran, Bilad Faris, the lands of Persia, majority of Iranians were not forced to Islam. Serious historians agree that it took over 200 years until the majority of the Iranians in the Iranian plateau became Muslims. The majority accepted Islam. They were sincere. They were Muslims. They were Ahlul Sunnah. A whole bulk of the Salaf were Persians. Many of them were Persians.
Isfahanis.
That continued. Isfahan, Shiraz, Ray, Qazwin used to be strongholds of Sunnah. That continued. However, from day one, entities, groups from within the Persian community, of course, had hatred for Islam, and of course tried to distort Islam. And what way better to distort Islam in the name of Islam? So what did they do? One of the agents was Abu Lu'lu'a the Majusi. Abu Lu'lu'a the Majusi is a Shia saint. That's a reality. He's a Shia saint. He's a saint in their madhab. Abu Lu'lu'a al-Majusi. Now, some people, by the way, they bring the shubha. How can a Majusi kafir live in Medina? Juhal, Jahilin, ignorant people who don't know basics, that to every rule there is an exception. Even Donald Trump would understand such a thing. To every rule there's an exception. So anyway, Abu Lu'lu'a the Kafir lived in Medina. He was allowed. And he was a Persian who claimed Islam. That's why it's a bit ambiguous. Some scholars, Ibn Hazm, I think, say that he was a Christian, but most scholars say he was a Majusi. And then some say maybe he was a Muslim. In either case, he was undoubtedly a munafiq. And what did he do, brothers? Who was the first terrorist? Who was the first suicide attacker in a mosque who killed a man while he's praying, leading the Sahaba and Ahlul Bayt in prayer? Who was this man? It was a Persian Majusi Kafir, Abu Lu'lu'a al-Majusi, who is a Shia saint, who was an Iranian.
When you say Shia saint,
you know what's funny? I'm sorry, I have to bring this up. First of all, listen, there are some of the Shias that are in text in the group chat. Listen, you guys can curse Omar and anyone you want to. But at the end of the day, Allah knows who's correct and who's not. You can insult all you want. You're not harming anybody, right? You're harming yourself. But I just want to say this. There are tons of videos. I don't know why they do this, but on the day where they celebrate the, quote, martyrdom of Abu Lu'lu, they actually dress like women and dance. I don't understand why they do this.
Abu. The thing is, people always say, do not. One thing that makes me always winds me up, as they say in England, makes me angry. So when people say, "Oh, please, don't generalize. Not every Shia is doing this." I say, brother, I live here in London. We have a lot of Polish people here. Polish people are originally they're supposed to be Catholics, right? And the Pope is ma'asum, is infallible, and they're supposed to go to the church. It's irrelevant what every Polish Dick and Harry does, or what every Iranian does or doesn't do. We do not judge religions, ideologies by what people do. If some people say, come on, don't generalize, I'm the first person to defend the Shias in the world in that sense. How? I say most Shias in the world are Persians. Most Persians are irreligious, kind and decent people. And by the way, this is one of the main reasons why Sunnis and Shias in Iran live peacefully and in harmony together. Careful, pay attention. I'm talking about the average people, the fellow countrymen inside Iran. The government and the Basij and the Revolutionary Guards and those who humiliate Sunni scholars or who bring a set of clowns and sellouts to present them as true Sunni scholars on TV. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the average Shia is irreligious anyway, most Shias. So we don't have problem with most Shias. I don't have problem with most Shias because most Shias are not even Shias. However, the sect, the religion, I have big problems with. And I believe it's pure falsehood. I do da'wah against it. They can do da'wah against our aqidah. And back to Abu Lu'lu. Abu Lu'lu'a the Majusi was a Persian.
But when you said he was a saint, what it's meant by it, because he assassinated Umar radiallahu anh, so they have a shrine of him, right? In
Kashan. Kashan is a city near Qom. They have a shrine of him. Now, the shrine. You see, brother. You see, look how technology has changed the world. The shrine is not new, but do you think that a Bengali uncle, an Egyptian uncle, an auntie, 60 years ago, 60 years ago, 30 years ago, when Khomeini was there 40 years ago, do you think they had any clue that such a thing does even exist? Even if you were told them these things 40, 50 years ago, they would think you're crazy. These things are not new. These things were always there, and it causes the Iranian government trouble. Why? Because people do not understand. The Iranian government is following an agenda within the constitution. It's enshrined in the constitution that the export of the revolution is the responsibility of every Iranian government. What do you think? Now everybody can guess what that means. Export of the revolution. Of course, it's ideology and religion. That's why they meddle from Yemen from Sana'a to Beirut to Nigeria. That's the reason. So the shrine was always there. The shrine is one of the many Shia fables and fairy tales because Abu Lu'lu the Majusi, the terrorist Shia saint who stabbed Umar while Umar was praying. Look what the cowards. He stabbed the Khalifa radiallahu anhu, Umar ibn Khattab al-Faruq. He stabbed Umar while Umar was praying. Then he tried to flee. When he tried to flee, he stabbed as many Sahaba as possible. So he killed another 9 to 10 Sahaba. And then he was slaughtered on the spot. And then he was thrown in a dustbin somewhere in the outskirts there, wherever in Medina. So sometimes people ask me, how can he have a grave then in Kashan, a small town, city near Qom? The answer is, this is a religion of hiqd, of deep grudge, anti-Arab sentiments, anti-Islam sentiments with the thin guise of Islam. Because think about it, brothers and sisters. As I said at the beginning, what way better to fight Islam than in the name of Islam? In the name of Ahlul Bayt. Oh, Ahlul Bayt, we love Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt, Imam Hussein. What way better? So anyway, the grave in Kashan is based on a Shia narration that after Abu Lu'lu, the terrorist, killed Umar, he ran towards Ali bin Abi Talib, radiallahu anhu. And Ali then said to Abu Lu'lu, well done, you Persian fire worshipper, because I was useless in it. I couldn't kill the enemy, my alleged enemy, and the one who snatched the Khilafah from me and killed my unborn son. Now I'm going to blow and make you a fairy tale unicorn horse, and with that you're going to go to the lands of Persia. And according to that narration or narrative, basically Ali bin Abi Talib gave him a horse or something, and Abu Lu'lu went back to Persia, and then he died peacefully in Kashan.
So you had
now even the scholars know that the narration is a fairy tale, but you know what they say? They don't care, brother. For them, it's symbolic. Symbolic. When I used to be Shia, I asked one of them. I said, "Is Abu Lu'lu buried here, yes or no?" They said,
"Sorry, no, you got cut off." You said, "Is Abu Lu'lu going to be what?"
He's like, when he was Shia, he asked the scholars.
When I was Shia, I asked one of the Mu'ammamin, these turban heads in my local temple.
Turban heads?
I asked one of them. I asked them, so come on, Abu Lu'lu can't be buried here. He said, that's irrelevant. It's symbolically, spirituality. We celebrate. By the way, you said they celebrate, the other brother said that they celebrate the martyrdom or the demise of Abu Lu'lu. No, they celebrate the death of Umar. It's called Umar Koshan. Do all Shias celebrate the death of Umar? No. Most Shias are not even Shias anymore. I repeat, most Shias are Iranians, are irreligious. Their names are Babak, Shahram, Mahram, Pahram, Parviz, Marviz. They don't even have Ahlul Bayt names anymore. So no, not all Shias do this. However, do Shia scholars believe in these things? And when I say scholars, I mean their main authorities. Yes, thumma yes, thumma yes. Okay. Abu Lu'lu in their sect is a holy saint.
Okay,
Hassan, I have a question for you, because you mentioned you come from a religious 12-er background. So what would you say
when
your
I
beliefs
said,
are?
careful. When I
Okay.
said religious, I said my father, the core element of my father's family is religious, but my father in his late 20s became more and more irreligious. So I wasn't raised strictly Shia, not at all.
Okay, so when you were a Shia, what did you believe in? I guess that's what I want to understand. Like,
Good,
what was
good,
your...
good. When I was raised in Europe, when I grew up in Europe, something was different about me in this, positively, according to me, and negatively, according to my family. Because my family became more and more, when I say my family, I say my father and mother. They became more and more irreligious, like most Iranian Shias. Everybody knows. You guys know. Most viewers know. Even most Shias know. Even if they curse me right now, they know I'm speaking the truth. It's a reality. It's a reality. When I started hitting puberty, I had a strange affiliation for Islam. I love this religion. One time I was in class in school. We had, what do you call it? Religious education, whatever. The
Madrasa?
Subject, yeah? About the three main religions, Abrahamic faiths, blah, blah, blah.
Religious studies.
Yeah. My teacher said something. I will never forget this. He said to us, Christianity claims monotheism. They believe in Trinity. Jews claim monotheism. And the Muslims claim monotheism as well. And they're very strict. You pray to God alone, and you slaughter for God alone, and you call upon Him alone. I was like, whoa.
Allah Akbar.
I was like, now I say, وَذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمِ. This is a good religion. This is a good religion.
You know what's funny? Wait, I'm sorry.
There's no watering down.
There's a brother of ours, Daniel Hakikachu, and he debated that guy, Tawhidi, whatever. I don't want to call him Imam.
Call him
with that guy, Arman Nawabi.
Call him Tawhidi.
So what happened was there was a moment in this debate where, I don't know, stupid Tawhidi was trying to say, well, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam did not have a single government in Medina. You're lying. And at that point, the atheist turns to Tawhidi and goes, well, why are you still a Muslim? Like, you don't believe in any of this stuff. And it's amazing to me that an atheist understands that this guy is a murtad in the way that he's saying stuff, right? Like,
I
don't want to divert. What does Tawhidi mean?
I
don't want to divert to Tawhidi, but just one quick comment. I don't want to divert to Tawhidi, but just one quick comment, because I had an encounter with him online. Tawhidi went to the personal before it was because my mother Miskina, she's in her early 60s. She was I never lied. You know, some of these extremists. I don't bash all Shias. Most Shias are irreligious. My people, especially Iranians, most of them are decent people. But the extremists, Rafida, some of them are so shallow-minded, or they understand good is bad and black is white and white is black and up is down and down is up. They say, oh, Shemrani said that all his family is super religious. I never claimed. I said my father's family is like this and my mother's family is like this. Anyway, Tawhidi went to the private. It wasn't private because she doesn't know back then. I made it private for Miskina. He went to the Instagram account for my mother and took pictures of her and called her a transsexual. She's a Shia woman. Shia. She's still Shia. She's like not very practicing, but according to his mother, she's upon his religion. This filthy scumbag, may Allah curse his soul and never guide him, went to her. By the way, it is from the Sunnah, is allowed to make du'as like this. He went to her private social media account and took pictures of her and spread it around and said,
what a disgusting individual.
Yeah, wait. And then he said, that's from this terrorist extremist guy. Why? Because I refute his batil, idol-worshipping Persian Majusi 12-hour religion. This is the people we are dealing with. Anyway, brother, let's go to the main topic.
It just reminded me of that.
My teacher
reminded me that even that people on the outside who are not Muslims can unappreciate the tawheed that we have in Islam. Like even a one who on the basic will say, hey, you can't be a Muslim if you don't believe these basic things. Like, you know, Muslims are very strict monotheists to the point we even mentioned earlier where there are Jewish scholars like the Rambam and Moshe, you know, who actually said that Muslims are muwahideen, that they are monotheistic. You can't deny that, right? I mean, no matter if you hate their religion, you don't like them, but they're strict monotheistic people. And I think that's one of the things and now I've noticed that some of the Shia are making channels saying that we have real tawheed, and it's the funniest thing in the world. But we'll talk about that later. But the idea,
in Arabic, we have a saying. It goes in English like this: it's like the prostitute who claims chastity. It goes around and accuses others of zina. Anyway, my teacher, it was when I hit puberty. Before I hit puberty, I always had an affiliation. I like Islam, although Islam wasn't much around, but I loved it. And it was especially strange because most Iranian youth in the West have nothing to do with Islam because the parents are very irreligious. So what happens? It reached a stage where I didn't know how to pray, and I had a very good friend who passed away. Rahimahullah, he became Sunni, alhamdulillah, he passed away. A very close friend of mine, one night, we were sitting together, I said to him, brother, we're Muslims, right? Shia, right? He said to me, yeah. I said, but we don't pray. He said, yeah. I said, and then I said to him, bro, it's time to pray. It's time to do what Muslim is supposed to do. He said, wallah, he had always this big heart, very brave person. He said to me, so what should we do? I said, we go tomorrow to the masjid and say, teach us Quran, teach us proper praying, teach us everything. He said, seriously, Hassan? You lost your mind? I said, no, bro, it's time. He said, okay, let's do that. I was 18. We went there. We went to the central station of my city. And then, Qadar Allah, look what happened. Qadar Allah. The central station, Ahlul Sunnah, alhamdulillah, everywhere are majority. Everywhere. Everywhere, Ahlul Sunnah, Ahlul Quran, and Ahlul Salah. Bengali Masjid, you hear Taraweeh, you hear Salah, you hear Quran, you spell Bukhur, Moroccan Masjid, Algerian Masjid, Cameroon. I went to the central station where all the Iranian taxi drivers are. I said, excuse me, sir, I need to pray. I want to learn prayer. Where shall I go? And most of them, are proper anti-Islam Iranians who probably curse Islam. And not probably. The guy even looked at me and said, what? Look how bad the situation is for Iranian Shias. If you happen to be religious or look religious, not like me, if you look like a typical Shia with a very short beard and trousers, shirt into the trousers and stuff, when they see you, they associate you immediately with the government. Look how bad. Imagine as a Bengali person, being religious is an association with your corrupt government. What? So this is how bad it is, this situation. So the guy thought that I'm some mullah son, some Muammar turban head son, or that I'm the son of someone who works at the embassy. A stooge, a goon. He said to me, are you one of the goons from these mullahs? I said, no, I just want to pray. I'm cool. He said to me, so you're Iranian? I said, yeah. Brother, on that side, hundreds of Sunni mosques. Not hundreds, it's a bit exaggeration, but many, dozens. What did he tell me? Because I don't believe he didn't do it because he was evil. It was just Iranian guy. He said to me, well, if you're Iranian, take this bus, there. Because, deaf to America and all these things, they often have the biggest and most, and often beautiful location mosques. So the Iranian mosque was the biggest and the most expensive part of the city. So I went there. I stayed there a few years. Then I visited Iran the last time, 2003, summer. I met Khamenei, and this story has a lot of details. I don't want to get into it. If you ask, I will answer. I went 2003 there, and with a lot of doubts. The doubts became bigger and bigger and bigger. When I came back, I remember this is pre-YouTube time, 2003. YouTube came 2005. Even the internet, everything was still, fresh. I met an ex-Shia scholar online who ran a website refuting Shia doubts. That was for me something that is impossible. But Shias
wait,
are
hold
very
on.
brainwashed.
Was this Abu Muntasir al-Balochi?
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
no, he was.
That was the first guy that I heard in my life that was.
Yeah, no,
Abu Muntasir. Passion
Muntasir.
on the Arab TV. I was watching it and I heard this passion. I'm like, who is this guy? And I'm like, I have to follow him.
I have to read him. Abu Muntasir is a different caliber. Abu Muntasir is a different caliber. No, this one was a Tehrani Muammam, Papa Muammam, who left Shiism, and then his wife divorced him, and then his wife wanted the government to hang him.
No way.
Wow.
So and he had to flee Iran. He fled Iran, and he was he had so much sabr with me because I didn't leave Shiism just like that because of one or two things. You know, people think, oh yeah, because of peer pressure of friends. Brother, I don't want to show off or say anything, but me in my life, maybe you can tell from the way I speak, I don't show off, but my personality, Hamasi, and I'm not the strongest guy in the world, but I have a sharp tongue, and I don't care. For me, when I left Shiism, an Afghan friend I will never forget, he said to me, "Are you out of your mind? They are about to. They offered you a job at Iran Air, free 5 times a year for free flying to Iran, good salary. You could have married almost anyone you want. They would have given you because there wasn't many religious Iranians, so they were happy if there was any for the Shabab Iranian was religious. And you're leaving this because of this." I said to him, "You jahil." I said, "Do you jahil? You are from the land of the warriors, from the land of Ahlul Sunnah, from the land of the Afghans. Do you think it's about this or praying like this? Baba, I pray like this. It's not about that." The issue is, the matter here is a matter of kufr and iman. I'm leaving it because this deen is batil, and you know it's batil. I said to him, "Why don't you join me?" But wallahi, he looked at me and he said to me, "I can't, bro. I know some things are wrong. I have some doubts as well," he said. "But you know, I'm from this part of Afghanistan." And I said to him, "I have more excuse than you to stay in the position that I am, because my country is over 85% and more Shia. It's almost whenever I go, I say Iranian, people are associate Iranian with Shia. So it's more difficult for me to live Shiism than for you as an Afghan person. It makes even your life easier. But akhi, ta'assub, inat, and yes, I don't want to praise myself, but I use the word bravery. You have to be brave to take this last step. So when I left, when I visited Iran the last time in summer 2003, from summer till winter 2003, I chatted with this Mu'ammam. I tried to refute him. I said, "I'm going to bring you back to Shiism." He, with the best, and may Allah give me and you guys the best character, he had so much sabr, he destroyed Shiism from its foundations and essence. And when I say Shiism, I obviously mean 12ism. It's a broad term, it's an umbrella term. To the point, even then I was not ready to live Shiism. Look how insan is, yani, mu'anid sometimes. Even then I said, no. Wallahi, I was at the point where I said, "Tayyib, Shiism is batil, but Sunnism is batil too." Because that's what I learned. Abu Hurairah, Abu Bakr did this, and some stuff was still in my mind. And then I studied more, until I realized that, listen, there is room. Not everything is, you know, they say gospel truth, but the gospel is batil anyway. But not everything is, and then Muharraf is, not everything is 100% true. But the asl and the foundations of Ahlul Sunnah are sound, Quranic, and it's superior. They have Tawheed, and they have the love of Ahlul Bayt, and they have the narrations of Ahlul Bayt. And 2003, winter, I declared openly that I'm not the Rafidi anymore. I stopped going to my local temple. The moment I stopped going there, they started saying everything they used to say about me positively. They turned it. Suddenly I was the worst guy, or that guy was this anyway. Although you won't believe, especially, you know, at young age, 18, 19, you have a lot of energy. The Iranian Shia temple was 1.5 hours bus and train drive from my house. But I was so zealous back then. I was so religious Shia that I used to go there. I used to do, you know, voluntary work, everything.
So let me ask you, hopefully, did you ever beat yourself while you were a Shia? I have to ask this. I have to ask. I'm curious.
They don't like when people say, although it's literally what it is, and they even call, you know, in Arabic, latmiya, when they say latmiya, a latam is a slap.
Yeah, you know, like slapping each other, yeah.
Can you demonstrate for old time's sake?
No.
Of course, they actually, look, they have sihr in their kalam. They have, like, they put like magic in their speech. They always try to make falsehood appear good. So yes, of course, chest beating and stuff. Of course, I did it annually. And as for zanjir, which in Pakistan is a Persian word, but is a loan word in Urdu as well. Zanjir means, is the...
It's a fig.
Yes. When they hit these stuff...
self-flagellation, what's it called?
Self-flagellation with razors.
Spikes,
with
razors.
Self-flagellation with razors wasn't done in my community. However, anything else that is still excessive, and it's not the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. With it, I bring a simple, aqli, logical point. I put it forward. If anybody would deserve annual wailing, self-flagellation, processions, what they call it, on the street, yeah? If anybody would deserve it, it's who? It's Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If, and we still don't do it. And Umar radiallahu anhu, for example, was killed, slaughtered during Salah. Do we wail? Do we say, Ya Umar, 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 Umar? Do we call upon Umar? Do we say, Ya Umar Madad, Ya Umar Adirikni? Do we crawl to Umar's grave? Do we rub ourselves at Umar's grave? Do we name our children Abdu Umar? Do we name our children Abdu Abu Bakr?
Sheikh Hassan, is it a coincidence that many of these practices are similar with Catholic practices like penance and things like that? Why? Because it seems like Sunni Islam is more similar to Protestants in Christianity, and it's the Catholics are more similar to Shiism.
Because falsehood, yes, good question. Falsehood attracts it attracts one another itself.
Yeah,
it's falsehood. For your question is good, especially because if we go back now a bit into history, did you know that during Safawi time, the Safawi kings had very good relationships? They had some fitna between them, Portugal especially, because Portugal conquered and occupied some parts of southern Iran. But the other Europeans had good relationships with the Safawis, and they visited the Safawis. You know, the Safawis are the 16th century Turco-Persian dynasty that slaughtered not all, but the majority of the Persian Sunni population. They had close relation, and there's evidence that these rituals, these paganistic rituals, excessive self-flagellation, excessive mourning, including self-flagellation, it goes all back to medieval time. And you know what's very interesting? You know, if you type in Google or YouTube, the only countries, Christian countries, where extreme forms of self-flagellation are still observed are parts of Mexico, I don't generalize again, it's parts of Mexico, parts in the Philippines, and I think in Spain. You see them nailing themselves on the cross, and they even hit themselves exactly like the Shia. And you know what's funny, brother? Instead of taking this as a ibrah, as a lesson, Allah is showing them the waqa'ah, the reality that says, look, this pagan barbarism, savagery, it's in the name of Jesus and in the name of loving Jesus. It's still batil. You know what some of them say? Some of them use it as a proof for the truthfulness of their pagan Ashura and Muharram rituals, because they say, look, Christians do it too. So why are you blaming me? I say to him, Ya miskin.
He's about to say Ya Himar. I'll say Ya
miskin. Two wrongs don't make a right. They are pagan Jesus Christ worshippers. They are polytheists. And even they, by the way, did you know that the Catholic Church has reduced it to a very, very strong extent? I mean, to the extent that self-flagellation is barely visible within Catholic communities. Yeah. You have millions of Catholics in America. Jesus Christ is their God. They believe Jesus Christ is God in flesh. Do they go on the street and self-flagellate? Oh, Jesus mother, yeah, Jesus mother? No. But yet
you know what I look at it? Hold on, I look at it like this, dude. I think this is like guilty beating. Like they feel guilty for what they've done. Like a lot of times from the history of the origin, they themselves have betrayed the Ahlul Bayt in a lot of ways, and they feel guilty about this, and they think that by beating themselves up a few times for a few hours or a year, they're gonna be, erase all the sins and somehow it's gonna be fine. I mean, I think anyone with a rational mind can think that a religion that would ask you to stab yourself in the face or the cheek, or hit yourself with knives, or slap your face, there has to be something odd about this. Right?
Here's the thing, guys.
وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمَ الشَّيْطَانَ what? Allah says in the Quran what? And Shaitan has beautified their evil deeds. Please, do not forget this. And please, brothers and sisters, do not forget this. The biggest batil, the biggest falsehood in your eyes, in the eyes of the mubtadi', in the eyes of the zindiq, Allah has beautified it to him. That is why you will one day encounter someone. As I told you, brother, if I want, I can right now play the role of a Shia turban head. And I can beautify my speech. And I can easily fool a bunch of ignorant Sunnis. How? I do it this way. I say, listen, when I beat myself, I just want to feel the pain. When I beat myself, I just want to relieve my love for Imam Hussein. It's just passion. It's just custom. When I used to be Shia, one Iblis, turban Iblis of my local community, he said to me, no. This is not problem. For those who doubt that I'm Iranian, that's my Iranian accent. No, this is not a problem. It's just custom. Some do this. Some do this. It's just, what he wanted to say? You understand? He wanted to say it's just earth. It's just custom.
I mean, there's no religious basis. It's just what we're doing for custom, right?
Yeah, and I was 18. That was the stage before I visited Iran the last time.
I think you already convinced me.
I had some doubts, yeah? I replied to the turban head. I said to him, Sayyid. They call the black one Sayyid. They don't say Sheikh.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a Sayyid too.
I said, Sayyid. What? So, gathering, annually, wailing, calling Prophet Hussein, and formatting, doing congregation like this. That's not religion. This is not a religious ritual. That's just custom.
So let me.
Sheikh Shemrani, I'm a Sayyid. I was wondering if I go to Iran, if I go to Iran, will I have some success?
His name is Sayyid Imran Munir.
Among the society, I want to, climb the ranks.
I want to climb the ranks.
I want to climb the ranks, and I want to be part of the, elite.
Oh, Akhi, for everything, you're opening cans of worms. If you, the Sayyid business itself is a business in Iran. If you're Sayyid, you're allowed to wear green. Only you're allowed to wear black turban.
That's correct.
You get double punishment.
There should be some sort of, people should be able to distinguish each other, The Sayyid should be easily identifiable, and you should be able to, offer your daughters in marriage to them, and there should be all kinds of
this. And we are fair, Ahlus Sunnah are fair. We are fair people. When we point with a finger, 4 fingers point to us. We are not unfair. Do we have bid'ah within the ranks of Ahlul Sunnah? We do. Do we have fraudsters, people who claim they are Sayyids and whatnot, grave worshippers? We do. But what is the difference? Here's the difference. As Abu Muntasir al-Balushi, the Iranian Sunni Sheikh, always says. He says the difference is that within Ahlul Sunnah, there are always groups who fight bid'ah, who fight batil, who call to the truth, who try to purify the ranks, who warn people against shirk, who warn people against bid'ah. But when is the last time you saw a Mu'ammam, in Najaf, in Qom, in Karbala standing up and saying, Inna alhamdulillah, ya ibadallah, ittaqullah, don't commit shirk, call upon Allah alone. If you take oaths, take in the name of Allah alone. If you pray in the name of Allah alone. Of course not, because they don't fight bid'ah. So, in conclusion, bid'ah, falsehoods, evil within our ranks is غير محبوب, is mardud, is rejected, whereas bid'ah, evil, dalalat, zandaqat, heresies in the ranks of Ahl Bid'ah wa Zandaqa is mahbub.
Who's Abu Muntasir Balushi?
Abu Muntasir al-Balushi is the guy that many of you know, but you don't know his name. But he was the one who called out a lot of the injustices that the Iranian Sunnis were facing in Iran, and he came. I believe his program was interviewed over various Arab televisions, but also out of the UK, where he had I think he had a show or whatever it was they would call it Mustaqbil or something. I forgot what it's called. But they had
him and Arul would yeah.
And so he would debate them and also comment on the treatment of Sunnis within Iran, because a lot of them, unfortunately, see, I think there's two sides, and I want to segue into this for a little bit too, because there's two parts here. People need to understand. There's one part which is the theological aspect, that we are very different from the Shia, and we are from Ahl Sunnah, which is, alhamdulillah, it's wadah, like it's clear to us. But there's another element where there are Sunni brothers within Iran who are being persecuted for their belief. And I think that part is something that a lot of people are unaware of. They don't realize, number one, the history of Iran and the Sunni influence over Iran, and the many ulama and scholars, giants that came out of that region. And then after the Safavid dynasty, like what happened to the Sunnis today? Like, what are they facing today?
By the way, you mentioned oppression of Sunnis in Iran. You know, one problem I have is whenever this problem is raised, the oppression of Sunnis in Iran, you always have people who come up with what? With a typical logical fallacy, proper childish mentality. Whataboutery, you know, the whataboutery call. What about the Shias in Saudi Arabia oppressed? You know, I used to have I want to just mention, because you mentioned Sheikh Al-Mutas Belushi. Sheikh Al-Mutas is an Iranian Sunni scholar who, when I left Shiism, I became friends with him since 2005. He has supported me, and he's my close friend. He's like an uncle to me, and he lives close to me, and we work together till this very day. May Allah preserve him. He's an Iranian Sunni sheikh. Half his family was hanged by the Iranian government. No. Half his family was hanged. Imagine what is in the heart of this man. And he has not a tiny atom's weight of enmity towards the average Shia. He even always says on his show, the average Shia people are Muslims, he says. He doesn't make takfir on the Awam. They don't know, yeah. Just the average. He says our enemies are these with the snakes on their head. Don't call it turban. The snakes around their head. So anyway, as I was saying, 90s, as I was saying, the very important point, this whataboutery. I always say to Shias, or even non-Shias, I met some, you know, often people on the far left who say, yeah, but what about Saudi Arabia? I say, wait a second. Is Saudi Arabia, by the way, I'm not a Saudi Arabia apologist, and I'm not someone who makes takfir, or I'm obsessed with Saudi Arabia. I wish every Muslim country the best. One time, I said to a non-Muslim, I said this to a non-Muslim who defended Iran, and to a Shia guy. I said, is Saudi Arabia, according to you, the incarnation of evil, yes or no? The manifestation of evil, yes or no? He said, yes. Can we expect any good from Saudi Arabia, yes or no? He said, no. Then I said, of course Saudi Arabia is going to oppress the Shia minority. Now, put it aside. I'm an Iranian. When I bring up the oppression of Sunnis in Iran, you shallow-minded person, you cannot come up with whataboutery and logical fallacies and say, what about them? You have to address me with my problem. I'm addressing my problem. So it's irrelevant what Saudi Arabia does. Is Saudi Arabia your standard? Are you following Saudi Arabia, or are you following Saudi Arabia, or are you the Islamic Republic of Iran? And Khamenei is the deputy of Imam Zaman Ajalallahu Farajahu Sharif. Which one are you? If you are the Iran of Khamenei, the deputy, yeah, he is, by the way. I'm not making up mumbo jumbo.
No, now I understand why they're going to make you mince meat. Now I get it.
So the supreme leader of Iran, the current one is Khamenei, is the official. Look at the Dajjal. Look at the charlatanism in the name of Ahlul Bayt. Look what these Dajjalin have done. Haram for Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman to sit and vote. But halal for a bunch of ayatollahs who can't read the Fatiha with tajweed, who can't speak proper Arabic. It's halal for them to establish Majlis al-Shura. Iranian government has Majlis al-Shura. Haram for Sahaba, halal to appoint who? Mr. Khamenei. And what do you think happens when Mr. Khamenei dies? A bunch of ayatollahs sit together, and do you know what they do? They play election game. The same game that we thought only Allah appoints leaders. The leader of the Ummah must be infallible. So Khamenei is infallible? Anyway, that itself shows...
Sheikh, hang on one second. Sheikh, you mentioned the Dajjal, and I know from a hadith that the Dajjal will have a lot of people from Isfahan. Now, what is there some correlation to Isfahani people and the Dajjal, as the hadith indicates?
No.
That the Dajjal will be leading 20,000 Jews from Isfahan. Is that correct? Or 40,000 was it?
Isfahani people, like most Iranian people, no matter of what religion, Shias and Sunnis alike, are beautiful people, decent people, good people. They are tired of this regime. Many are tired of these khurafat and khuza'balat in the name of religion, in the name of Islam, in the name of Ahlul Bayt. The hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Sahih Muslim that you are mentioning talks about an event in the end of the times that 70,000 Jews will be from the followers, from the Ansar, from the supporters of the Dajjal. Yes, ironically, Isfahan has one of the largest, if not the largest Jewish population in Iran. And another irony, Isfahan used to be majority Sunni, but look how Allah, taqdirullah. And it happened that Isfahan 500 years ago, from majority Sunni, became like most or almost every major Persian city majority Shia. So yes, that region has many Jews, and that region has many evil ayatollahs who are not less evil than the rabbis. I don't want to generalize all Jews as well, than the evil rabbis at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, who allied themselves with the mushrikeen instead of allying themselves with the
Sheikh,
I want to make
one point. There's people in the chat who are saying that you're very sectarian. I just want to let you what these people are know that the Sheikh has several times over the period of this show has mentioned that the majority of Muslims in Iran, they're okay. They're not like this.
Hold on, Sim, wait, listen. You don't have to worry about these people. These are the ones that follow him around from Twitter or the people. They're just trying to make it sound like he's a moderate Shia. Yeah, they're sectarian themselves. So I don't care about that. Listen.
I say it. By the way, some of them say we do taqiyya. I do taqiyya. You know, let me make one thing clear. The last person on earth I would make taqiyya in front of would be a Rafidi. That's the last person on earth I would be talking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of you. I mean, exactly. I tell them all the time. Yeah, I'm not afraid of a Shia guy in text that I have to worry about. Yeah,
we don't. By the way, they accused me of terrorism. I was once at the demonstration.
I saw that. What were those two goofy brothers, Rizvi brothers? Yeah.
No. I was 2013. Me and Sheikh Abu Muntasir. You haven't seen this. You haven't. I believe so. 2013. Me and Sheikh Abu Muntasir al-Balushi went to a demonstration in front of the Iranian embassy in London, in central London. Why did we demonstrate? Normally, by the way, I don't hold a strong position on demonstrating or not. Even Sheikh, he's not known to do this normally, but that was he doesn't have time for these things. Why did we go? Because over a dozen Sunni activists, just activist du'at, were about to get executed and eventually were executed. So we went to demonstrate against what? Against Iranian Ayatollah Shia state terrorism, right?
Right.
What happened on that day? A bunch of other people were there, including some extremists like Anjem Chowdhury and whatnot.
I saw that, yeah. And they try to associate you and say, "Oh, you were there together with them." And I saw the clip where you said, "I have nothing to do with these people. I'm here on my own accord."
They used one picture of me next to him, and then I clarified it. And as I said, they are the last.
But you know what? These people hang out with the Yasser al-Habib, the guy who wants to call for the downfall and everything. He has an army brewing like in somewhere in London, like some weird like fat boy army. Anyways, listen.
Brother, let me just say one thing. This is how we should respond. If any of these extremists, if I personally believe they are not extreme and they're my brothers, wallahi, I would say it out loud. When I say that Anjem Chowdhury is a Khariji terrorist, he's a Jahil idiot, and then it's because I believe it. When I say Fulan or when I Daesh, I was, by the way, I was threatened a lot by Daesh fanboys, a lot. And there was a time when I was threatened a lot with death on Twitter. I didn't do it to impress anybody. It was on the prom, when they were at their prime, and I wrote some stuff against them. I received threats. I don't give a flying monkey if anybody believes that I do it because of impressing anybody. No. I do what I learned since the day I left Shiism. I stand for what I believe. If I believe it's the truth, I will open the mouth. Yeah, however, for those people who accuse me of being sectarianism, what do you mean with sectarian anyway? Define it for me. Is it opposing, despising, rejecting certain ideologies and creeds? Yes, I do. And yes, I am. What do you mean by Asibi? You mean loving Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali and the Sahaba? Then I am an Asibi. What do you mean by Rafidi? Loving Ali, in that sense, I am a Rafidi. So everything depends on the intention. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. What is the intention? What is the ta'arif? What is the definition of these words? So that.
I mean, I think, and I want to segue into something else a little bit too. But I think I just want to understand something that is that people understand. There are people who have delved into the text of the Shia, and they have seen some very disturbing things that they write about the most honored personalities within our religion, including the mothers of the believers, including the closest companions of Prophet. So when someone is aggressively refuting something like this, it doesn't mean they're sectarian. That sectarian stuff started in your books. It didn't start in our books. We don't mention stuff. We have no hadith talking about Shia imams or whatever they are, or negative about Ahl al-Bayt. We don't do that. So when a Sunni who claims he loves the Prophet's family, all of the Prophet's family, not just from one or a few selected, including his wives, we see an attack on the Prophet himself, the character of himself, and that would anger any Sunni. Just like when or any Muslim for that matter, anyone who had an ounce of respect for the Prophet ﷺ would be insulted if they read some of the material that comes out. And the unfortunate truth is that not many of these people who are regular laymen Shia, they don't see this stuff. They don't know about it. They don't go around talking about this stuff. It's the main figureheads of them that publish these books, that give lectures on these things, that encourage them to believe and to see things in this lens, this us versus them, this Persian versus Arab, this Shia versus Sunni thing where we have to automatically hate their personalities because they are supposed killers of Ahl al-Bayt and they have no, it's just nonsense. But anyways, look, you can have your comment, but what I wanted to say was after you're done just adding to that, I want to talk about like the history of Iran and just briefly, like, because I know most people don't know that we have many, Imam Bukhari, the name Bukhari, where does it come? This is Khurasan, this is the Persian Imam Tirmidhi, like people like this main ulama that we have in Islam, they were, I guess you call quote Persian and quote of descent, but meaning from Fars, but most people don't know that. So your comments on this?
Yes. So first and foremost, for those who are more interested in this, I strongly advise you to, I don't update it. I don't have any support. I don't have anybody who helps me writing, so excuse me. But my website, sonsofsunnah.com, I have an entire section about what you have just mentioned. I have a section called, for example, if you go on sonsofsunnah.com, I have a section called History. I have a section called The Service of the People of Iran to Islam. So yes, here's the thing, Akhi, in short. Sunnism, Sunni Islam has a deep root in history in Iran and Shiism. Most people don't know this. Forget about most people. Most Iranians don't know this. That's new to many Iranians because, as I told you, bro, many Iranians, in Farsi we say that iddaashun gondas. They are big claimants, but they don't read really much. The average Joe, the average online troll and whatnot, who is like really toxic, like nationalistic. They don't know. They are Persian Empire. Iran and Islam entered Iran during the Caliphate of Umar radiallahu anh. Some Shia say, so what? He was sitting in Medina. How is this? How does he get the Hassanat? Well, that's like a Nasibi saying, Yazid has no share in the killing of Hussein. He was sitting on his throne in Damascus. No. But he was the leader, So you have to blame Yazid as well. طيب. Umar was the leader. Umar was the Amir al-Mu'mineen. So he gets the share in the Fath of Iran. So Iran, the lands of Persia, were opened, conquered in the time of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. Many Iranian nationalists, like Shias, by the way, and by the way, I have some articles on my website. There's sometimes a strange allegiance between them, because Shias hate many Sahaba, many Iranian nationalists, they like it, So both Shia, many Shia scholars and Iranian Islam haters, they always mention that the Sahaba did this and they attacked Iran. They put it in the worst light. And they say Iranians were forced with the Islam of Abu Bakr and Umar, the Islam of Ali is different. The truth is, as I mentioned, most serious scholars of history, historians, mentioned that it was impossible that Islam was forced upon most Persians. This is not accurate. It took more than 200 years for Islam to be the majority religion in what is called today Iran. And until the 16th century, Iran was majority Sunni, Shafi'i, and Hanafi. And it had Hanbali. In Iran, we had Hanbali regions. We still have few, by the way, shocking to many. We have Hanbalis in Iran. We have in Hormuzgan, we have some towns that are still Hanbali. But back then, before the 16th century, parts of Gilan, of what is today known as Gilan, and what was previously known as Tabaristan, where Imam Tabari is from, parts of that region was Hanbali. And guess what? Because some Shia polemicists have learned to counter back in a way. So they say, what you're trying to say, that Shiism has no history in Iran? There was always Shiism there. Yes, but you know what they don't mention? Shiism in majority Sunni Iran existed mainly in the form of Zaydis Shiism. Yeah. You understand? So the Shiism that did exist in majority Sunni Persia was mainly a very moderate form. And
wait, so can you comment on that? Because there are some people in text who have asked repeatedly, what is your opinion of the Zaydiyya? And for me, the way I understand it, that they are significantly less, aggressive compared to the 12ers. Yeah. And there's a lot of similarities we have with them. In Yemen, we have them. In Yemen, we have the Zaydis in Yemen. Of course, now there's Al-Houthi, which are completely different. But Badruddin al-Houthi went to the Hawza and he got radicalized, whatever happened to him. Allah alam. But most of the Zaydis, they pray behind the Sunnis. They read even a hadith from the Sunnis. So your take on this, what is your opinion of the Zaydis that were around today? Or maybe
I studied for some material for a while by an ex-Zaydi brother, by an ex-Zaydi sheikh actually. By the way, there's many ex-Zaydi sheikh, big ones. Sheikh Muqbil rahimahullah was ex-Zaydi. Many people don't know.
Yeah, Shawkani as well too.
Sheikh Shawkani as well. And there's many who became Muslim Ahlul Sunnah Salafis. But anyway, there's a sheikh, and I studied his material. Strictly theologically speaking, of course, Zaydiyya are from Ahlul Bid'ah. They are Mu'tazila in Aqidah when it comes to Asma wa Sifat, and we have differences with them. They are Ahlul Bid'ah, according to us. They are a misguided sect. However, Ahlul Bid'ah, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah are the most just of all people when it comes to their mukhalifin, to their opponents. The Zaydiyya, when compared to the 12ers, are Sunnis, almost. That is why some people call them, some people even confuse them, as you said, with Sunnis. And as you mentioned correctly, the Houthis are an exception. The heads of the Houthis studied in Iran. Aslan, they are 12ers, the heads of the Houthis. So the Zaydis are not a threat in any shape or form. By the way, when I say threat, 12ism is not a threat because it's truth. Tomb crawling, shrine licking, Ya Ali Madad, Ya Fatima, and worshipping Fatima and calling upon Fatima in sujood is not a threat to Tawheed.
Well, speaking of threat now, just so you guys know, the threat of coronavirus because of these shrines are very real. Licking.
We will get to that. Yeah,
they're licking these shrines.
What I wanted to, what I meant is that look, we have to be always fair. Even Qadianism. Qadianism is a batil, and they do their da'wah, and they cause harm, undoubtedly. But think about it. Which sect has a state behind itself and causes harm in the name of Ahl Bayt, spread shirk and kufr and dalal in the name of Ahl Bayt? Is it the Sayyidis? Is it the Qadianis? No. It's Iran. And when I say Iran, again, Iranian people,
but you know, Hassan, I will say this.
Beautiful people.
Hassan, I will say this though. I think there's a lot of people that understand this, because if you've seen, they look, okay, yeah, there is Shia Iran, but they look also at Iran as an extension of this Wilayat al-Faqih, where they tried with Saddam Hussein in the 80s, and now it continued, right? You have Lebanon first.
Can you explain that? Sorry, you just brushed over that. Can you explain Wilayat al-Faqih really quickly so people don't get confused? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, okay, very quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Very quick. Wilayat al-Faqih means Waliyul Faqih is the wali. Look at the title. Waliyul Faqih is the wali, is the commander in that sense, in this context, of all the fuqaha. Because al-faqih, you know, in Arabic, singular, when it's lam al-ta'arif, it is jama'. So waliyul faqih is the wali, is the commander, the leader of all the fuqaha, jurisprudence. And another title of him, by the way, is waliyul amr al-muslimin. How many, guys, you don't know how dangerous they are. How many thinks of himself as the Khalifa of the Ummah? And you are muqassir. At best, you are muqassir. I.e., you are muqassir, you are sinful, and you haven't done your homework for not recognizing the son of Fatima, the deputy of Imam al-Zaman. Yeah, anyway, sorry, brothers, there's one point.
Yeah, no, so I wanted to say this. So the thing is that now that they have dug their agenda, now this is more politically speaking, but they put it into Lebanon. Then from there, you see it spread into a very close ties with the Syrians. Now it's in Iraq. Now it's in Yemen. And we see it around and around and around. And the people who I don't want to say nationalists, but who generally are proud of where they come from and proud that we have traditions of Ahl Sunnah in our lands, we get paranoid. Like in Yemen, we never saw a picture of Khomeini ever. Khamenei or Khomeini ever in Yemen. Now, today, after this so-called Houthi revolution, you're seeing pictures of Khomeini everywhere. Like no one had this before. Nobody knew who this guy was.
Allah will destroy these savages anyway.
Inshallah. I mean, but the thing is that this is how dangerous it's become.
But here's the thing, brother. The answer is very simple. We Ahl Sunnah are muqassirin. It's our fault. We haven't done our homework. I already mentioned roughly half an hour ago. What did I say? I said, because you're mentioning, brother, Wilayat Faqih, they're expanding. They are occupying Sana'a, Beirut, Damascus. Almost they got Bahrain. What's going on? Brother, they don't even make it a secret. It's enshrined in their constitution. The export of the revolution is enshrined in the constitution. But Ahl Sunnah, they were sleeping. They were either asleep, or you had those semi grave worshippers and Sunnis by name who are similar to Rafida, or you had sellouts, or you had good people like Sheikh Abu Mutas Balushi. Do you know that Sheikh Abu Mutas Balushi has a beautiful story? He was old school. You know the famous Hyde Park Speaker's Corner? He used to go in the late 90s, early 2000s there. He said Lebanese Sunnis and Syrians used to attack him and say, "You're making fitna. What are you doing? What does Iran do? What does the Rafida do? Well, why are you talking about that?" He said, "You don't know. This monster, this Zanadiqa will come after you." And you know what? The same people who shouted at him, when they see him on the streets, he said, they lowered their head, they said, "Sheikh, just forgive us. We were jahil, we didn't know. We didn't know that this Majusi monster is now chasing us. We wish we were." That's why, brother, Kafir and Muslim is united on one principle. There are universal principles in the world, like ma'ruf, good thing. What is the principle? Human beings are doomed if they don't learn from history. That's our problem as Muslims, as Ahl Sunnah. We don't learn from history. If we learn from history, if I, the likes of myself, the Sunni defense, if we could travel the world, educate people, we're not hunting Shias, we're not killing Shias, we're not saying do this to Shias. We say you refute Sunnism, I refute your sect. If we were allowed to educate people, if we would put into the curriculum of Malaysia, of Yemen, of Morocco, of Tunisia, if I would go, inshallah, to the universities there and speak and explain to them the history of the Safawis, how millions of Persian Sunnis were slaughtered, how Shah Ismail of Safawi sent his army to Baghdad and throw a dog into the grave of Abu Hanifa. The same people who are so grave obsessed and shrine obsessed. If we were allowed to educate people, then Akhi, this question like yours, and I know you are raising that not out of ignorance, but for educational purposes and for the benefit of the viewers, then these questions wouldn't even pop up in our minds.
So here's the thing.
Exactly know with who we're dealing with.
Sheikh Shemrani, the problem is that this,
Brother Hassan.
Brother Shemrani, we came from the subcontinent. We know some of the issues that happen when people like yourselves get involved with refuting Shiism, and we've seen it in Pakistan where it leads to a lot of sectarian violence. Even though they don't understand the nuances of what you're explaining, we're not encouraging violence, you're not encouraging hatred or animosity, but you are trying to show why you are correct and they are trying to show why they are correct. Do you think there is some wisdom in just not talking about it at all? Just, burying this subject.
Good question. Everything in the Prophet ﷺ said in an authentic hadith, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالْغُلُو, and I think he repeated it 3 times. Beware of ghulu, of extremism. Anything in Islam in an extreme form is unhealthy. Refuting Ahlul Bid'ah, and I don't mean it, our friends, some people who are obsessed to expel every Sunni from the fold of Sunnihood. I don't mean those nutters. I mean like actual dangerous zanadiqa, refuting zanadiqa, or even refuting like theologically Christians even, It always involves, it comes with a toxic atmosphere, of course. It can't be healthy all the time. But you know what the problem is, brother? One big mistake people do, how do people judge me, for example? They see my social media account, they see my few YouTube channels. Shemrani's obsessed 24 hours with Shiism. He writes only about Iran and Shiism. I say to this miskin, I say, my friend, the ignorant, foolish man judges a man based on his professional, or let's call it his da'wah activity accounts. For example, someone like me, I have my private life. I try to take, when I leave this, when I finish writing my articles, as if I'm with my family, with my beautiful kids, and with my profession, I teach, alhamdulillah. I teach, and I'm very happy at my job, and I study full time. I went back to studies. I study languages. I'm very happy with my life.
What are you teaching?
I have a beautiful I teach German and Tajweed.
German.
German Tajweed?
Private
German,
German
and Tajweed.
Not German Tajweed. German. Although I could sell it. I could sell German Tajweed as Tajweed to the Ayatollahs of Qom.
I would like to hear a Tajweed with a German accent.
He corrected my Tajweed when I said Farfik Nugan. He corrected it.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'll be back. So anyway.
No, I get what you're saying. Like a lot of times people think that us, people who have personal or social media presence, that this is our whole life. We do it all the time. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This is only a segment of who we are.
Yeah, and they're naive. They don't even understand. For God's sake, they say, "Why is your channel? Why is Sons of Sunnah all about the Sunni history of Iran?" That's the whole purpose of the frigging website. That's all about Iran. Why is your Twitter, Mr. Shemrani, why is your Twitter all about Iran and Shias and the crimes of Iran? Well, that's intentional on purpose. That's why I set it up. That's the whole point. But people are so naive, so shallow-minded. They say what? And by the way, when some people say self-hating, you guys said some brothers that said they're Asian backgrounds. how many brothers, Asian brothers, did I meet who are experts on refuting the Dajjal and Shaitan, the clown, Ghulam Ahmed of Qadian?
So many are. Yeah.
So many. Now, question to you, my dear brother, all of you who are sitting there, and to the viewers. If a person from Asian background exposes Ghulam Ahmed left, right, and center, does that mean he's self-hating? Does that mean he is somehow attacking his ethnicity? He's self-hating? He has issues with Asians or Punjab because Ghulam Ahmed was from the Punjab region? No. The Prophet ﷺ fought, although the Rafida, the Sahaba, the Kuffar, and the Murtaddi, black and white world, upside down world. The Prophet and his Sahaba fought the Munafiqun. The Sahaba, Abu Bakr, they fought the Arab Murtads after the demise of the Prophet. The Sahaba fought the actual Murtaddin. So does that mean the Prophet opposing Abu Lahab, his uncle, and other Arabs, that he's a self-hating Arab? No. So does it mean that Shemrani, Ibn Hassan Shemrani, or other Iranian Sunni brothers, who are there many, like Sheikh Abu Muntasir Baluchi is of Baluchi Iranian descent, us refuting Shiism, which is our right, it's our freedom of speech, opposing Iran, does it mean we are self-hating? We don't like our country?
I'm a self-hating Sayyid.
Absolutely not.
Just because you're not saying the verse. Hold on.
Absolutely not.
No, because I refute other people's Sayyidhood. So they call me self-hating Sayyid. I tell them, like, no, I want to see your tree. I want to see who the famous tabi'in is that you're trying to connect the dots to.
What are you talking?
You know what?
I want to see the famous.
This is another thing. Wait, now some people
That's
get
how
mad
the
at me
people make to connect the dots.
But
Dude, you don't understand.
I'll be honest.
Chef, you don't know anything.
You're in America.
I will teach you about how.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna say this, dude. I'm gonna say this. Any Iranian or Desi, whatever that says he's a Sayyid, I question it. I'm like, unless you get. Yeah, I'm like, look, you know why? There'll be like a whole town of people all Sayyid, and not one of them are related to each other. Not one of them.
Pakistani Shias, almost every second one is the same. It's
Sayyid, listen, on my mother's side, I have some people that are
Jizvis, all of them. These are all Habashis. Bro, the truth is, by the way, remember one thing, let's always be just.
You just made them fall off the chair laughing.
I don't think you do what he said. Don't worry. Keep going. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. You were saying. Go ahead. Brother Hassan.
I said, oh yeah, all right. I don't know. I remember I said Rizwi.
Don't worry, it's okay. I know they have all these names that are a bit strange. Yeah.
Listen, brothers, as you know, every falsehood, the most corrupted ideology, be it communism or religion, has some truth in it, including Rafidism. By the way, it is true historically, some of the Bani Abbas, for example, I don't say it in defense of my family, some of the Bani Hashim Alids, they really fled to Persia. That's true, that's known. They fled to the regions of Persia. Among them were righteous people, Ahl-Sunnah, among them were Rafida, and there is some truth in it. And from Persia, some of these Bani Hashim moved further to the region of Kashmir, and some went to India. So it's not an impossibility that someone is of prophetic descent and he is Desi or he is Persian. However, it's undoubtedly a fact. Most of them have zero proof for that, and it's just hearsay, or they have made up family trees. And the further you go from the lands of the Arabs, the more unlikely that someone is there. Anyway,
yeah, that part I get. Yeah, that part I get. I mean, look, we know that there are. I mean, there were people that migrated apparently out of the area, and that's fine. That's great. The problem is that when I believe that a lot of times people pick up this name in terms of like for nobility or for honor.
Yeah, of course.
Like exactly. It's just, and that's the whole problem with it all. But you know, there are some questions for you, I think, in the text. So I just want to get to a couple of them. I know people are typing these things out, so bear with me while I'm trying to get to them.
Meanwhile,
apparently,
all right, go ahead.
There's one person who's asking a specific question about if certain Shia believe that Jibreel alayhi salam was mistaken with delivering the revelation, and skipped over Ali radiallahu an and mistakenly went to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Is that from the modern day 12ers, or is that some extinct sect that is no longer in existence and so forth? Whatever. That's the question.
Good question. I'll try to answer it as quick as possible. First of all, always their brother or sister who asked the question, remember, we Ahlul Sunnah, we are just, even with our opponents. We don't lie upon them. Our opponents, the Rafida, they claim that Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah lied upon them because in his Minhaj al-Sunnah he mentions this. However, they don't mention that Shaykh al-Islam mentions that a group from within the Shias, I forgot their names, it was a
very small group, yeah.
I forgot. It was a subsect from within it who did held this view. Do modern day 12er Imamiyya hold this view? No, they don't. Okay. However, they hold other kufriyat that are not much less than this one.
I mean, I remember going through. I remember one time back when, I'm sorry to say this, but I remember I had gotten my hands because I told I was involved with refuting some of these videos, and so I went and I got a copy. I opened Bihar al-Anwar, and I swear the first, I'm like, oh, let me find some stuff just to like look at it, right?
More, what is that?
It's like a I don't know. Okay, so it depends. Maybe
it's an encyclopedia of almost all main or majority Shia hadith. It's 120 volumes.
Yeah, but they won't say whether it's Tahayy or not. It depends on who you ask, right? I mean, they will. Anyway, the point being is they have the most like crazy thing that would be similar to this idea, right? Like that the mistaken in revelation, or there are other additional revelations, or
that's another topic. You mean distortion of the Quran? No, undoubtedly they have a hadith, and undoubtedly they have.
And like there's even like donkeys narrating hadith. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Anyways, so the other thing, we have another question. Is so here's a question from Zain. Today, Farid report from a Shia book that Imam Jafar used to go to a school. What would you say about it? Does that nullify the knowledge of the unseen of the Imams? That's maybe a little specific, but go ahead. Yeah.
No problem. Imam Jafar al-Sadiq is the son, Imam Jafar ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq. His father is Muhammad ibn Ali al-Baqir. And al-Baqir is the son of Ali ibn Hussein Zain al-Abidin, the only or one of the few, Allahu Alam, male members of al-Hussein's family who were spared, their lives were spared at the massacre, the battle there at Karbala. And of course, Ali ibn Hussein's father is Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein's father is Ali ibn Abi Talib. And Imam Jafar al-Sadiq was born in Medina, lived all his life in Medina, passed away in Medina, taught in Medina, never talked about Imama, met Imam Malik. Malikis praise him for his knowledge. Malikis have narrations that Imam Sadiq praised Imam Malik. According to historical accounts, Imam Sadiq taught thousands of students in the Medina mosque, in the Prophet's mosque. Not a single word about Imama. And the reason is simple. Because Imama, Shia Imama, is a fable, is a myth, is a khurafa, is a lie. And I challenge any Shia, this one on his head, or polemicist, face to face with me to discuss this. But anyway, there's a surprise in a few days. Sunni Defense going to release an official statement.
So can I just...
Sunni Defense is going to release an Imama? Or the one of those
turbans?
Oh
my God!
No, a challenge.
Oh my God! Sim.
No, I thought like it would be like the Shia black turban with the Sunni Defense on it.
This is like Sim's ADD kicking in.
That would be fantastic. They need to release that though.
Yeah, no. If you like that stuff, Sim, if you like that stuff, there's a Yemeni channel called Suhail. And there's a guy named Muhammad al-Idra'i, and he makes fun of these things. He has a song called Halab.
Anyways,
listen. But there's another question here. So let's some guy. What about the idea that we Sunnis do not follow Ahl al-Bayt enough? Meaning, if the Quran / Ahl al-Bayt never separate, why do we not teach more based off of them? Well, I don't know. First of all, what do you mean? I think the question is a little odd that some guy the
problem.
Quran
Let's
and
move
Ahl
on to the
al-Bayt
next question.
are separate. We don't believe that Ahl al-Bayt
First of all,
are
no
Quran.
problem. No
Yeah.
problem, no
Go ahead,
problem.
yeah.
First of all, the person who is asking this question, he is blameworthy because whoever you are, may Allah bless you and guide you, you haven't learned your religion enough. Because if you had lived your religion enough, you would know that in Arabic, I speak Arabic, and the brother speaks Arabic, the brothers there speak Arabic. In Arabic, the ahl of a person, if you meet an Arab person, you say, Ya Rajul, Ya Rijal, Kayf Halik, Kayf Ahlik, how is your family? The family of the Prophet is first and foremost his wives, and by extension, yes, due to Hadith al-Kisa, Ali bin Abi Talib, not just Ali bin Abi Talib, also the family of Aqil, and so on and so forth. We have narrations, many narrations of Aisha, who is from the wife of the Prophet. We have many narrations from Ibn Abbas, who is from Bani Hashim, an actual Hashimi, not a Dajjal who calls himself Sayyid and
hang on.
The Quran with corrupted tajweed. No, we have an actual Hashimi who is Abdullah ibn Abbas. We have numerous chains of in our chains of narrations. By the way, yes, I wrote an article about the narrations of Imam Sadiq, Baqir, Zain al-Abidin in the books of the Sunnis. It's on a website called You Punk. It's a blog by
You Punk.
By the way, is a team member, Indian brother, very very sharp-minded Indian brother, Ibn al-Hindi. His blog is called You Punctured the Arc.wordpress.com. Very powerful blog, very sharp-minded Indian Sunni brother. This article I wrote it for him.
Most Indians usually are, mashallah.
It's on his website, and it proves that Sunnis have narrated more sahih, correct, with authentic chains from the big scholars of Ahl Bayt than from the Rafida. Than the Rafida. As for the Ahl Bayt never separate, you know, brothers, they always mention this. They mention weak versions of the Thaqalain Hadith. The most authentic Thaqalain Hadith, according to most scholars, is the one in Sahih Muslim, where there's no wording such as they don't separate. The Prophet says, أُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ بِأَهْلِ بَيْتِ أُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ بِأَهْلِ بَيْتِ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِ أُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِ. I remind you, after he mentions Quran and to hold on to the Quran, he says, I remind you, Baba Ahl Bayt. Other narrations include wordings like they never separate. Here's my question for this brother in Shias. If you say that the Quran Ahl Bayt literally never separate, where is the Ahl Bayt right now? If you say the 12 Imam, of what use is it idle, non-functional, non-guiding Imam? That's not even an Imam by any definition. If you mean, well, if you say, well, in our narrations, we have the narrations of Ahl Bayt, we have our own narrations of Ahl Bayt. We don't need your batil. Just like as Muslims, we don't need the version of Jesus Christ to love Jesus Christ and to follow Jesus Christ. As for we don't mention the Ahl Bayt, wallah, I don't know where this brother or sister goes to the masjid. I went to the Deobandi masjid. I went to the Deobandi, my local Deobandi brothers masjid. I went to the Athari Salafi masjid. They praise Abu Bakr, Umar. Deobandis especially have a deep love. They mention Fatima, Hassan and Hussein. When the day I became Sunni and Arabic, there's tons of books written about the merits of Fatima, the merits of Al-Hussein. Ibn Kathir, the student, my dear friend, who asked the question, Ibn Kathir, the student of the Nasibi, enemy of Ahl Bayt, Ibn Taymiyyah, filled his book, his Tariq book, with the story of Karbala. He mentions details without the fictional, Majusi, mumbo-jumbo fairy tales that we are not in need of. He mentioned plain facts about the event of Karbala. So we have our own narrative of the Ahl Bayt in our books. So, by the way, this is one trick. I'm not accusing this brother or sister who asked the question, but this is a trick normally by their polemicists and their turbanites to say, but you never mentioned Ahl Bayt. What do you mean you never mentioned Ahl Bayt? A Sunni in his prayer says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim wa barak ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta. We mentioned it in a prayer. We have Fada'il. I have a website. I have another website. It's called shiascan.com. And I have a Twitter account, Shiascan. Yes, it's mine. I'm not scared to say which accounts are mine and which are not. Imam Bukhari, the enemy of Ahl al-Bayt, filled chapters with the merits and virtues of Fatima, the virtues and merits of Al-Hassan and Hussein and Ali bin Abi Talib. So what more do you want? So what do you mean we don't mention it enough? Do you know what they mean? I need to take my glasses off for this. Do you know what the Rafida mean when they say? Do you know what the Rafida mean when they say, but why not more Ahlul Bayt? Why not more Ahlul Bayt? You know what they want? Just like the Nasara. The Nasara will never be happy with you until you worship Jesus Christ. The Nasara are not happy if you call him Al-Masih, if you say he's from Ulul Azm. Some Christians say, you Muslims just say he's some prophet.
He's just a mere prophet,
Who said he's just some... No.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ is not just some prophet. He's Al-Masih. He is from the Ulul Azm. He's mentioned clearly many times in the Quran. Now, this is our Jesus Christ. But are they going to be happy? Are they going to be satisfied? Never, ever. Until you do what? You fall into the ghulu. You fall into the extremism. You follow their narrative of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. And the Rafida extremists, this is what they mean when they say, why not Ahlul Bayt? Why not follow Ahlul Bayt? We follow Ahlul Bayt.
So one quick thing here.
You want us to follow Zindiq Kuleni.
We get it, son. It's all good.
And we say, the hell with the Rafidi version of Ahlul Bayt. The hell with the Rafidi version of Ahlul Bayt. And ahlan wa sahlan to the Sunni Muslim Orthodox version of Ahlul Bayt. Back to my class.
So do you have a question? No, well, just make a few clarifications, and I want to ask for you to verify something. So first and foremost, those of you who are just joining, we went through the general history of how Islam and the Muslims as rulers were the Umayyads and the Abbasis. After the Abbasis, then the Safawids came, or the Safawids in English, came and basically changed Iran into something that was more of a Shia entity or a state. And you clarified multiple times that the average Irani or average Shia person is not to blame. It's only the people who know, or only the people of knowledge, because they understand what they're saying, right? And the average person is just a very cool person. They're nice people. Shias and Sunnis may not even know each other as Shias and Sunnis. The average person in Iran.
My mother is Shia. My mother is she's very lenient and modern,
of course.
But she's still Shia.
Yeah.
My uncles, my aunties.
Yeah.
My country's majority Shia.
Of course, but I think people need to realize. I think people need to realize where your passion is coming from. Not only is there an element of what we were talking about as oppression against Sunnis, but when we research a little more, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, "Radiyallahu anhum wa radu an." Allah was satisfied with them, and they were satisfied with Allah, as understanding Allah as their creator. He's talking about the Sahaba, namely the Ashar al-Mubashara, the 10. But one thing we have to understand also is a lot of Sunni brothers and sisters don't understand is that the Rafida and the Twelvers don't consider our books of Hadith as books of Hadith, the 6 books of Hadith. And if you really dig deep, there's some individuals from amongst the mouthpieces of the Rafida who claim that they have their own version of the Quran that no one else has.
I was hoping he can get in.
They claim that, and some of them claim that they know where Mahdi is, right? Mahdi al-Muntazar at the end of time. And if you want to...
Wait, what's a Muntazar?
Mahdi, the awaited, meaning the one who's awaiting. Mahdi.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, elaborate and verify, because I've heard that and I've read that multiple times, that the Rafida believe that they have their own version of the Quran that the Sunnis don't have, which is why they have an enmity towards the Sunnis.
Inshallah.
Because if that is true, that's why you see some people say that they're not in the fold of Islam, because if you have your own Quran,
that's not the Quran.
That's not the Quran,
right?
Yeah.
If you remember, I forgot the point, but earlier I defended the Shias on that point. People don't believe sometimes. It comes out of the mouth of Hassan Shemrani. Yes. Earlier I defended the Shias when a brother said, is it true? They believe that Angel Jibreel should have come actually to Ali instead of the Prophet. I said, no, that's not mainstream Shia belief. 12 Shia belief, it's not. And now again I'm going to defend Shias. I say, do Shias, if we say with Shias, the average Shia, even the religious Shia, they're practicing. No, they don't believe in Tahdith. Absolutely no. Do they love the Quran? Yes, they love the Quran. They love the Quran. The religious Shia has love for the Quran in his heart. He has love for Ahlul Bayt in his heart. Just like the religious Christian, with all his ghulu, with all his extremism, and excessive love, it's still love. It's wrong love, but it's still a form of love. We can't say, oh, all these Nasara are munafiqun, you know, at night they curse Isa. Nah, they love Jesus, but it's excessive, wrong love. And the Rafida, I don't want to use Rafida for the average Shia. You know, the Shia masses, because it's a less toxic term. The Shia masses, they have love for Allah, His Rasul, Ahl Bayt, and the Quran. My grandmother passed away a few months ago, and alhamdulillah, as far as I know, when I spoke to her, she left all the shirk and everything. But when she used to be very staunch Shia, she used to read the Quran. By the way, I scratched my back with this one. It's £4 from Amazon. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get one. I love those
Don't
things.
worry, we didn't think you had spikes on it.
It's okay.
So my grandmother used to read the Quran. She used to make khatam every week. You know. So no, we have to be just. We have to understand. We are dealing. In the end of the day, they're human beings. They, of course, you know, they have. You can't. This type of very simplistic understanding and view and stereotyping. Although people might think that this is exactly what you do, Shemrani, it's not what I do. And I'm not doing taqiyya. The reason I clarify it, because people need to be educated. Sunnis and Shias need to be educated on this issue, that no, the average Shia doesn't believe in tahrif. However, and again, I advise people to go on my website, my other website, shiascans.com. I have a tahrif section. They're scholars. Not all, but it doesn't make it good. And still, they're biggest scholars, they're pillars, they're Ibn Taymiyyahs and Nawawis of them. They did not just believe in Tahrif al-Quran. Worse, they said the Quran that has been compiled by a bunch of thugs and
they're referring to
renegades,
Uthman radiallahu anhu's compilation,
i.e. the Sahaba, according to them. How can this Quran be free of any defect? So logic dictates that the Quran has been corrupted. Who says this? Do I say this? No. Muhammad Baqir al-Majlisi, palace scholar of the Safawi kings, buried in Qom, venerated in Iran, put on post stamps, has a massive has a shrine in Qom, you know, the Wuhan of Iran, Qom, hashtag Wuhan of Iran. And so there, but here's the thing though, here's the thing. You see, subhanAllah, as I mentioned earlier, the truth is always somewhere in the middle. Sometimes people are too harsh. All Shias are kuffar. All Shias believe in tahrif. One extreme. Other extreme, no, my friend, my neighbor Abdul Hussein has the same Quran as me. He doesn't believe in Quran. He doesn't believe in tahrif. My proof is Abdul Hussein right there. Where's the truth? The truth is in the middle. Abdul Hussein and Abdul Zahra and Ghulam Ali, yes, they don't believe the average Shia. Abdul Hussein doesn't believe. Yes, but what the average Shia,
comedy, dude.
what the average. By the way, it's not mocking. It's not.
No, I know.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Absolutely, it's not mocking. These are common names in their culture. So anyway, the truth is in the middle. How? The average, not all, the most Shias don't believe in tahrif, but it's even worse. Why? Because they are taking the deen from kuffar. Now somebody says, Ahl Bayt are kuffar or what? A'udhu billah. No, not Ahl Bayt. Ahl Bayt has nothing to do with you. A'udhu billah. Attributing Ahl Bayt to the Rafid, that's kufr. Majlisi the Zindiq. Kulaini the Zindiq. These people, they take their religion from, and they were kuffar. They disbelieved in the authenticity of the Quran. So that's why Sunnis and Shias need to be educated, that the Shia layman, he doesn't know. He's taking his deen from kuffar who didn't believe in the authenticity of the Quran. So what? So you are inviting us Ahlul Sunnah to follow Thaqalain, the two heavy things, where your own scholars or top guns from among you scholars didn't even believe in the main Thaqal. So of what use is the minor Thaqal if the main Thaqal is Muharraf according to your Muhaddithin and Sahibul Kafi, Kulayni the Zindiq and others? Not all the scholars, but enough of the scholars from the major scholars.
Give me a
So
question.
do you plan on visiting Iran anytime soon?
Most of them don't believe in that.
Yeah,
That's
right. I mean, we've seen kind of these things before. I mean, I've even seen mentioned in Bihar al-Anwar where they say that even the Ahl al-Bayt and people who are Sayyid, they don't actually read the Quran. They have like a Zabur they use, or I've seen some crazy
have a Zabur?
things they have. They claim that some of them have, the Hadith, I remember reading something like that they have in one of their books, I don't know. And they go to the Arsh of Allah and make tawaf around it and come back with more knowledge.
Oh, yeah. That's, look, the Harun Anwar, you have to understand. We have to be fair and just. The Harun Anwar is an encyclopedia of Hadith. Majlisi did not intend to include only Sahih Hadith. It's 120 volumes. 120. Yeah. It's 120 volumes. Of course, it's not Bihar al-Anwar. It's Bihar al-Dhulumat. Bihar al-Dhulumat.
But Usul al-Kafi is considered to be Sahih for them, right? Usul al-Kafi?
No, yes and no. Yes and no. There are scholars, schools of thought within their sect who accept everything from the 4 books. You know, they have the 4 main books, Al-Istibsar, La Yahturuhu al-Faqih, and so on. And there are others. They call themselves Usuli, the majority. They at least claim that the approach is to authenticate based on Sanad and Matan. That's irrelevant. That's all irrelevant. Do you know why, brother? As I said one time, you don't need to disprove Shiism by bringing one hadith from Al-Kafi. That's wrong. If you do this, then you're an amateur. That's not how it's done. You just need to bring... Why does somebody... I have a question to you guys. Even the most layman person, I believe, can answer this. I pose this question to the viewers. A scholar, a historian, a doctor, a Islamic scholar, when he puts picked chapters in his book, he doesn't intend that everything under the chapter is authentic. Fair enough, because that's what Shias argue, isn't it? Not every hadith in Kafi is sahih. But when somebody puts a chapter, it's a belief, right? It's something that he wants to support with narrations. Kulayni the Zindiq has chapters that the knowledge of the Imams is like the knowledge of Allah, i.e. Kulayni put chapters that just like every drop in the ocean that is known to Allah, the Imams knows. Every leaf that falls on the floor, the Imam knows. That's why when we do da'wah, akhi, that's why we are frustrated. That's why it takes energy, but we do it for the sake of Allah. When we make da'wah and shallow-minded people come, Quburi type of extremist Sufis and others, semi-Rafidi type of groups, and say, yeah, but bi-idhnillah, Allah can give ilmul ghaib. Allah says in the Quran there, but He gives the ghaib to whomever He wants. Yes, to His Rasul. Is Ali bin Abi Talib one of His Rasul? Is the second Imam, the third Imam, the fourth Imam, the fifth Imam, the sixth Imam, the seventh Imam, the eighth Imam, one of the Rasul? هذا أولا. ثانيا, secondly, Allah giving portions of the ghaib to His Prophet, or to you, my dear brother. Me and you know portions of the ghaib, don't we? Through reading some ahadith, we know some portions of the ghaib. Our problem with extremists from amongst the Quburiyya, like the Rafidha, is not that they say the Imams know some of the ghaib, bi'iznillah. Our problem is that they have described the knowledge of the Imam the same way as Allah describes His knowledge. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Allah is my witness. I haven't even done a single lecture on this. I have no time. I haven't even done any. Everything that I mentioned, many things I mentioned today is the first time. In Persia, yes.
Maybe one of many that we're going to have, inshallah.
I mentioned earlier, but I didn't finish. From 2011 to 2014, I ran my daily live show on Wasal TV with the Farsi branch. Wasal has different branches, originally Arabic. Mm-hmm. It's a channel in defense of Ahlul Sunnah, because some people say, sectarian channel attacking Shiism 24 hours. It was launched as a response to over 40 anti-Sunni sectarian Shia channels. So, by the way, you know, one time I said to a Shia person, the only reason we Ahl Sunnah do what we are doing is because, as a reaction, not reactionary in a negative sense, is a mas'uliyah. It's fard kifaya for a group from within the ummah to respond to shubuhat and refute al-bid'ah. If you wouldn't go around and spread shubuhat, we wouldn't be there. So we do
that's the thing. I think everyone has a unique position, like especially coming from your background where you understand that. I mean, you know, there are people who are ulama that have read and stuff, but being from a unique position of being from among them and then leaving them and understanding their mentality is an important way. I mean, that's an angle that many people don't have, you know, because there's nuances that people won't get. But yeah, so moving forward, we have a guest in the text, Millatu Ibrahim Hanifa, I think it was. I forgot the name, but
more.
Says,
make this quick. We got to wrap up within a few minutes.
Okay, yeah, we got 2 more questions. That's it. We're done. Okay, where do the Shias draw the line when it comes to shirk/kufr? Does everything go if it's for the sake of glorifying Ahlul Bayt?
Good question. A good question. There's scholars, and listen to this. No zindiq, no heretic, no priest will go at night under his cover and cry and say, "Oh, I'm a mushrik, I'm going to go to hell. I'm so much upon batil and falsehood." No. Every person upon batil, normally, every priest, even the dua at the head, وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمْ الشَّيْطَانَ أَعْمَالَهُم, right? Shaitan has unified to them their wrong and batil and false action. So they perceive and believe what they do from among the falsehood as beautiful and right and correct. So, sorry, my mind. What was it again?
You were saying, talking about shirk. Where do they draw the line with shirk?
Will they commit shirk and kufr?
Yes.
The end justifying the means, meaning for glorifying
technically, they say, of course, no, a'udhu billah, ma'adallah. Allah is one. We worship Allah alone. Al-Hussein is the slave of Allah. We say Aliyun waliyullah. Ali is the friend of Allah. By their tongue, they say the truth sometimes. By their actions and other kufri statements, they negate the few true statements. That is why, according to the scholars, now to wrap it up, even my own words, they say, because you said you can say whatever you want about Ahlul Bayt, Akhi, the scholars say whatever you want about the Ahlul Bayt in praise, except Rububiyyah. They say, say whatever you want. And look, it's as if, look, the Zindiq, the Shaitan, who has created the sect in the name of Ahlul Bayt, how many million Shias. That's why, brothers and sisters, trust me, the work we do, that Sunni Defense does, we do it for the sake of Allah. Not a penny we get support. Nothing. The opposite. We struggle. Brothers and sisters, the shayateen who created the sect has misguided millions of Shias. That's why Shias are the first victims of Shiism. Before anybody else, Shias are the victims. Now, you might say, dear viewer, I disagree. I'm a happy Shia and I love my whatever, Latam and Ya Ali Madad and whatever. Listen, it's all done in the name of Ali bin Abi Talib and Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt are holy to us. We love them. And from Shiism is sectarian by definition. It nurtures by attacking Sunnism. So it is our right and haqq to refute your sect. We believe it's a form of worship and you can do your job. You can do your thing. You can refute us. You know, brother, earlier, I'm really sorry, but you mentioned something. I need to mention this. You said, what is it that people, say sectarian stuff? Akhi, it's because of muscular liberalism. It's because of false sense of multiculturalism. I had one time, this brother told me about his Jamaican, in London, we have a large Caribbean community. So he had this Jamaican neighbor who was a passionate Christian. And the passionate Christian made da'wah to this brother. Then the brother asked one day, this passionate Christian, hey, listen, what happens to me if I don't accept your version of Jesus Christ? He said, you're going to burn in hell. And then the Christian asked the brother, what happens if I worship Jesus Christ? The brother said, you're going to burn in hell. But let's be neighbors, still neighbors. Now, careful. They might misuse now my words and say, yeah, some of these Rafid, and they say, well, it's our right. We're going to curse around. Let us curse. Let us curse where we can peacefully coexist. Listen, you can coexist wherever you like. Can I go, brothers? Can I go the way I spoke today? Free. Can I go in Qom? It's my freedom. It's my freedom. Can I go to Qom and say, to me, I made a research. I have an article about the 12th Imam of the Shia being a myth and resembling more the Dajjal than anything else. Can I go and distribute my little book or my little article in Qom or Najaf? No. If I get hanged upside down, can I blame anybody but myself? No. I don't expect from Shias any mercy if I would be that stupid. I'm not advocating that anybody does anything to Sunnis, no Shias. I say no Sunni in the majority Shia area can say even a single word against. In Persian, we say, Nagu baloi chishmish chesh abrus. Don't say that the guy has eyebrows above his eyes. It's a saying in Persian, a beautiful saying. Yani, don't even say, look, he got eyebrow. So, as a Sunni, I can't even criticize Khomeini's auntie in Qom. Fair enough, fair enough. And no, as a Sunni, we don't let you go to Medina around and say, oh, freedom of speech, we want to curse, because some of them argue like that. As for we live here, which are completely different standards, here everybody can curse the mother of Fulan and does. That's how the laws is. You do your thing, we do our thing, and the truth will inshallah prevail. And the truth is with the muwahidun, with those who have not exaggerated in the love for Ali bin Abi Talib. And these people are certainly, and inshallah, none other than Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Wassalamu alaikum.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. If you didn't get to your question, make sure you put it in the comment section below. Sheikh Hassan, thank you so much for joining
Hassan, us. It was a pleasure. My greetings to all the brothers and sisters, the viewers, Muslims, non-Muslims, Sunnis, Shias, all of you.
Hello, Shias.
You enjoyed it. If I hurted the feelings of the extremists, Rafidis, and those who've cursed, please know that it was all intended.
I love this guy, man. I love him. MashaAllah.
By the way, Purified Tawheed, if you're listening, Doughboy. Listen, if you're listening, Doughboy, you have to accept the challenge. I've been watching you on Twitter. You've been ducking and diving.
Please don't forget. And I need to go now, but please don't forget sonsofsunnah.com, Sons of Sunnah with a H at the end. If you want to educate yourself more about the Sunni history of Iran, who are the Sunnis of Iran, the population of the Sunnis of Iran, sonsofsunnah.com, my website, shiascans.com, my website.
Can you spell that out? Shia Scams? SCAMS?
No, Shia Scans.
Scan, SCAN. Shiascans.com.
Okay. Shiascams.com also applies.
And don't forget, scam. Scams. That's a future project. Shiascans. Yeah, Shiascans. And last but not least, don't forget the Sunni defense. Hot, very powerful videos are in the pipeline, productions are in the pipeline. The Sunni defense, really powerful stuff, shocking stuff. Probably by tomorrow or the day after tomorrow is going to be uploaded some stuff. We're going to make an official challenge to the polemicists. As I said many times, numerous times, I am ready to debate, but I have my own principle. I don't make it, like this Hassan al-Qadri, who thinks he's a king and, I don't know, drinks the juice of other people like a peasant. Anyway, this guy who makes childish conditions, you have to bring me this, you have to bring me a burger, you have to do this. I don't make any childish conditions. I debate any Shia here in London. I don't have the money. If you want to invite me, maybe, but no, it should be here. There's enough Shias here. Hundreds of turban heads. Yeah, true. Hundreds of turban. Sistani owns villas here. You know that? Sistani, many of these Ayatollahs, I've seen it with my eyes. I met
Allah Muhammad.
For future sessions, I met the what do you call it? What did you call it? The son of his grandfather. Someone is a grandfather. No,
Grand Wizard.
His grandson. His grandson.
Allah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I met the grandson of Ayatollah Khoi. Ayatollah Khoi, yeah. Ayatollah Khoi is the student. Sorry, is the sheikh, teacher of Sistani. You can
Sayyid al-Khui,
what
right?
property
Yeah.
they had? Yeah, I told say yeah. So I don't use the word Sayyid for them. Khui, I met Khui's grandson in one of the best parts of London, a multi-million pound villa, and that was just one. That's all the khums money.
So let's say that we'll talk
Yeah.
about.
But anyway,
We
let's
gotta
take it for the
episode.
future.
Yeah.
Let's take it for the future. I said here one last time, and you will see it on the Sunni defense. I have my own principle. I don't make it difficult. The crux of the matter, what is for the salvation of me, you, Sunnis, Christians, is imama. Anybody who is ready to debate imama for Quran and Sunnah, he can contact me, and I will accept it, inshallah. But more to that, more about that, inshallah, on the Sunni defense.
Inshallah later. All right, Sim, wrap it up for us, buddy.
Jazakumullah khair. Take care, inshallah. I hope I didn't give you a headache. I'm also a chatterbox. I like to talk,
Yeah.
and that's the way I am. I'm passionate. And
Thank
I
you,
hope
everyone,
you
for
enjoyed.
joining
I hope
us.
I hope the viewers enjoyed. And yeah, then Assalamu alaikum.
Take care, everyone. We'll see y'all next week. Assalamu alaikum.
Yalla, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam.